this close.
We are this close.
Two direct models.
We're this close.
This close to making history.
This close.
We are this close.
We are this close.
This close.
This close to changing the world. We are this close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
Ever again.
We are this close to making history.
We are this close to ending polio.
This close to ending polio.
We're this close.
This close.
This close to ending polio.
This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
All we need is you.
All we need is you.
All we need is you.
Is you.
We are this close. This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
What was your reason for joining Rotary?
Well, I had been familiar with Rotary for years because my husband was a Buffalo Rotarian. And when I came to Monticello in 1988, April 1 of 88, I purchased the travel agency from George and Mary Johnson. And George had been known in the club as being very much against having women in Rotary. And once I came to town, he was bent on getting me into Rotary as fast as possible. And he had changed his mind for a variety of reasons. And so I think the first or second week I was in the office, he insisted I go to Rotary and visit the Monticello Rotary Club. Of course, I was pleased and excited to do that. I knew they were a great club. I had been a Rotary Ann along with my husband. That's what they called us back in those days. The wives were Rotary Anns. And so I thought, well, it would be kind of nice to be one step up from Rotary Ann. And so I pursued joining and was the first woman to join the Monticello Rotary Club. However, I recall that I didn't want that notoriety published exactly right away. So we kind of held back with that and until Ollie and Sue Johnson joined forces with the club, and then we could publicize that Monticello Rotary now had 3 female Rotarians.
Not close, not close.
What a fantastic moment to have. 2 records broken. 1 for the most number of people on the Sydney Harbour Bridge at the same time, 1 for the most number of flags on the bridge at the same time, and all of it's going to help end polio now.
It was really cold up there, but we are all very excited, just together, 300 people together and to break the record. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what Rotary needs, to show a force like that all over the world.
Great PR for End Polio now, and in the process we can vaccinate 240,000 young children. Fantastic. Doesn't get any better, does it?
One of my proudest moment is the fact that I get to promote our club in our community. PR was a big thing for my year to get the word out so that the local community understand and knows who we are. And we did that with Chris Lamo's help with the photography, and we did that by being more present in the community when we have our fish fry and our Taste of Town and our golf outing. I can't think of, it has been fun. I know that my year went by fast, but I remember the fact that in my head I need to promote that Rotary is not your father or your grandfather's club anymore. So I have tried to be out front and to build a different image of our Rotary Club in our community. And oftentimes you got the look, people look at me like, what is Rotary? Why are you in a Rotary? And who are you? And so I'm glad that I can clear some of the questions. So one of the proud things I have done is that to create a banner for my year in 2012 with 4 presidents side by side and consecutively year after year. And 4 of us represent a different age group, different gender, and different culture. And 4 of us on that banner, and the banner stated that we join Rotary for fellowship and we stay to change the world. And little by little, we have tried to do so.
What did you learn about yourself as a Rotarian and as president?
I learned, I think being a president, I learned a lot more about Rotary. And Rotary is not just every Monday lunch and volunteer when the club asks you for. And so the Rotary is, being a president, it has kept my eyes open and see that it's not just locally, but globally. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. One of the things I started out my year was to do the vision. And that was the vision session that we had to get our club thinking ahead from 3 to 5 years out and to plan things out. And that was a really good, good team effort that the club had done. And as a president, I took the opportunity to go to Thailand for the RI International Convention. And that was an amazing thing because it was more than 35,000 people in one city, all different people from different world, all parts of the world to get together and doing one thing. How do we better serve our community locally and globally? Regardless what language we spoke, we were all in the same wavelength, and that was awesome. So that was one of the things I enjoyed.
wanted to talk a little bit about how I first learned about Rotary, and I learned about it through my father, who, as of course everyone knows, the Buffalo Rotary Club sponsored Monticello Rotary. And although I knew of a lot of the business people from Buffalo, I had the opportunity as they came in to visit with my father, to witness and hear and understand what he was hearing for the first time, and also from the perspective of him then taking it to the next step and interviewing and talking with other local business leaders in Monticello as to reason why he thought it would be a good idea and why he thought they should consider joining. And that whole prospect of my being in Rotary is a little bittersweet because in order for me to be asked to become a member, he had to have a heart attack first. I mean, it wasn't that cut and dried, but I mean, because he had a heart attack and could not continue, that's why I was asked to take his place. And I looked at that as a real honor because I was 24 years old, and everybody in the club was a lot older than that. And I got a real perspective of knowing the business leaders of Monticello that I would not otherwise have had, or would have at least taken me a long time to understand. But meeting with people on a club level like Dr. Hart and just Marty Gelberg and a lot of those people who were older than that I wouldn't have had that opportunity had it not been for that. And I'm very thankful for it, but naturally I wished he hadn't had to go through the heart attack. So as far as key moments in Rotary's history in Monticello, I go back and I still say that the most important decision that Rotary has made that certainly is affecting all of us today positively was when Rotary International decided to allow women to join Rotary. And I know that we had 3 ladies who joined in 1988. I don't remember whether the Rotary changed the law in 87 and it was implemented in 88, or whether it all happened in the same year. But during that time, I consider that probably the biggest change that Rotary has gone, and the best thing that they ever did. The old thinking of wives of Rotary members were called Rotarians, and that's no longer the case. Nobody refers to Rotarians anymore, they're members.